We all know that gas prices are at an all-time high. For that reason, a lot of people are looking at other kinds of fuels. In our ongoing Chicago Matters series, Growing Forward, Christian Farr tells us about one fuel that's causing a worldwide debate.
At Loyola University, students are creating something that could lessen the United States' dependence on foreign oil. And it could also help the environment at the same time. And that something is biodiesel.
It's important to teach kids how to make biodiesel so that they start thinking about how we can use alternative energy.
This here is biodiesel.
But what exactly is biodiesel? Mark Rice, who runs Biofuels Technology, a Northbrook company involved in the biodiesel industry, has his own definition.
Biodiesel is a sustainable, renewable energy that is similar in all respects to petroleum diesel, but it is derived from renewable resources.
Can you explain the biodiesel process so we can understand and sort of step us through, because we're in a lab right now?
Yes, this is the biodiesel lab. So we start by collecting our grease from the deep fryers in the cafeterias. And we bring it into the lab and we filter it to make sure that we get out all of the solid particles. We have floating pieces of French fries and donuts still left in there, so we want to make sure that we get that out first.
Zach Wakeman is one of the students involved in running the biodiesel lab at Loyola, and he gave us a quick tour of how grease becomes fuel, starting with this silver tank dubbed R2D2.
We put it in there and that's our filtering tank. And we also pre-treat the oil. So we heat it up to make sure that we filter out all of the extra particles and water that might be floating in there.
Wakeman says the next step is to move the oil to one of these larger tanks.
And from here, we add in our two main reagents. We basically just add an alcohol, which is methanol, and we add lye, which is drain cleaner you use in your house every day. And so when these two mix together, it makes methoxide. And this is our one chemical reagent. We mix it together with our oil, and then we let it settle out. When it settles out, we have biodiesel floating on top and glycerin, which is our one byproduct on the bottom.
Wakeman says from there, the glycerin is separated out, and the biodiesel is then washed and filtered again to ensure that it is clean enough to put into a diesel engine.
We've had one professor, a couple professors actually, running their cars entirely on biodiesel for about a year now without incident.
Traditionally, biodiesel isn't normally made from leftover fast food or restaurant grease. Instead, it's primarily been made from soybean oil or other oil-producing plants. The growing popularity of biodiesel goes beyond the college level. Several companies, like the Dominic's grocery store chain, power their diesel trucks on biodiesel.
It's politically very desirable to use sustainable fuel that we make in this country rather than outside of this country. And then in terms of the environment, it's a lot better for the environment in a lot of ways to burn biodiesel versus diesel fuel.
The production of biodiesel does create a byproduct that could pile up if it isn't reused. And that byproduct is glycerin. That's where Rice's company makes its money.
There are thousands of things that glycerin can be made into. Some examples are cosmetics and antifreeze, and literally thousands of applications for it.
At Loyola, students came up with their own idea to reuse their glycerin.
And then we turn the purified glycerin into soap.
Since it requires food products to create biodiesel, there is a growing debate about its effect on the food supply around the world. And some environmental experts believe that alternative methods need to be discovered if the U.S. wants to continue using biodiesel.
The problem I have with biofuels is when it starts to encroach upon our food supply.
Christopher Appelt is an assistant professor of biological sciences at St. Xavier University. While he understands the benefits of biodiesel and other biofuels like ethanol, he believes the creation of biofuels could cripple the economy.
In the United States, the vast majority of biodiesel is made from soybeans, which of course is a food product. So that means less soybean is being used to make foods and more is now being used to create fuel. And that's going to affect food prices to some extent.
Food prices really have nothing to do with it. It's the price of food going up has a lot to do with currencies and world population and the fact that energy has risen so much.
So if we're going to use biofuels, we have to get creative. And that the ideas are out there, it's implementing them. It's finding a way to actually make use of them. For example, algae is a very efficient photosynthesizer. It's very good at taking sun's energy and making it into stuff.
Part of that stuff is oil.
Water goes in at the higher part of the stream and it runs slowly down over the surface, and the algae like to attach to the surface. So
And it's a method Loyola students are also testing.
Algae can really produce a lot of oil in a small amount of space, and it would be more sustainable if the research is there and makes it happen.
And the new biodiesel plant owned by Nova Biosource Fuels in Seneca, Illinois, is also using non-food products to create biodiesel by using fatty acid matter from dead animal remains. For now, the food versus fuel debate will continue, but at least the next generation is thinking about this complex issue.
Getting these ideas generated and getting students empowered by giving them information and letting them try to solve problems through research is really what we're trying to do.
For Chicago Tonight, I'm Christian Farr.
And just recently, Loyola University received grant money to help expand their biodiesel lab program. Nancy Tuckman says they plan to take what they've learned into local high schools so they can educate even younger students. And as always, we welcome your feedback on our Chicago Matters series Growing Forward. Just go